Nah, I think it's only mostly dead. So this is my really exciting basement office desktop, complete with metal folding legs and a plywood painted top. And yeah, I know, I built it for family get-togethers to extend our dining table around Thanksgiving, but I took a trip to my local favorite specialty lumber store, and they had a bunch of fresh slabs in stock. Some of them were close to $1,000. They also had a bunch of these wider spalted maple pieces, but they were a little pricey too. This piece here was about $340. But in the back of the store, hiding in the corner, and this poor slab is a little broken and tattered, almost as if Charlie Brown had picked this one out from the tree lot himself. And even the edges were tougher to work with, much unlike this pear tree desk that I created for my wife, where the edges were kind of smooth. The edges of this chunk of maple will actually cut fruits and vegetables. So before I figured out how I wanted to fix this crack and stabilize the slab, I really needed to do quite a bit of work to get all of the loose bark out of there. And I used a variety of tools, from that oyster shucker that you saw to air grinder, a rasp, anything to loosen up the bark and get it out of there. Even the small little Dremel knockoff tool here worked out pretty well. And then clean up the extra dirt in between the seam with a stiff wire brush. So I do really like the look of butterflies to close up these cracks, but it is a desktop, so I can't have pencils and pens falling through. I'm going to need to be able to write on top of it. So I can't just have a repaired crack with butterflies. I'm going to have to solidify the entire crack somehow. So rather than go down the butterfly path, I thought about installing thick dowels coming in from both directions on each side of the crack to sort of stabilize and stiffen up that break. Now, I had some 3/8-inch oak dowels in stock, and if I'm really careful with the way I position the drill bit, I'm able to get a pretty deep hole drilled through both pieces. And if I put enough of them in there, I was pretty confident that it would stabilize the crack, stiffen up the entire slab, and then that would provide me a great base to fill with epoxy. And so I wound up working up and down both sides of this split trunk, filling the gap and installing dowels coming in from both directions. And even picking it up after I had the dowels installed, the whole slab is quite a bit stiffer. And then I used a flush cut saw to trim them flat, and this will be the bottom side of the desktop, of course. Get back to work, man. So I sealed up the bottom with some blue painter's tape, and I'm going to wind up dealing with the epoxy pour here in 3 stages. I've had some bad luck before when I don't seal up the end grain of a project that I'm working on, because if there's trapped air or just a gap that you can't see, bubbles will tend to come out and ruin the epoxy pour. I don't expect that this time around because we're dealing with the removed bark on both sides of this trunk, but I wanted to seal it up and make sure that we got rid of all the gaps first. The next pour is going to fill up the bulk of this crack, and so I used some black mica powder and a little bit of white pearlescent powder to give it a tiny little shimmer. But I'm not going to fill this all the way up to the top for a couple reasons. One, bubbles tend to form even when you're not watching them, so you'll pop them as they come up, but when you walk away, more tend to surface. But also, epoxy tends to shrink when you do large pours like this. So you could fill it right to the top and you'd be wasting your time. You still have to do the final pour that I'm doing here. So after the thick pour cures, we pour in one more light layer just to get it a little bit above the surface of the slab. And once that hardens, we should be sanding down to a flat top. And so it's a little bit difficult. The tape does come off, but you really have to fight with it a little bit to get it off of the epoxy. But this removed from the bottom, and we're going to have to do some sanding there where the dowels are and also where the rest of the epoxy is. But the bulk of the work is going to be on the top because you want this to be as smooth and as glass-like as possible. And so working with a belt sander, we'll just take the chunky stuff down first. And before I do any more sanding, I'm finally going to remove those sharp live edges. So I love the look of a live edge slab, but the edges of this particular slab were really unusable and inhospitable. Now, even if I had left the live edge slabs, the width of the desktop wouldn't have been enough really for me to put a couple of laptops or an extra monitor. I needed to add some additional maple to give me additional width. I wanted it out to about 28 or 29 inches. Now the slab is already 59 inches long, which is going to work out pretty well. I don't need it any longer than that, but I really did need to add this additional block of maple to give me the width to make it a usable desk. And now it's just a matter of getting the dowels lined up and getting both of these pieces clamped up to give me that total desktop width. Both of these pieces are almost exactly 1.5 inches in thickness. And we let this sit overnight. And so for the actual top, it took a ton of sanding. So the bottom was sanded, it's pretty smooth, but I'm less worried about that. I really wanted to focus on the desktop. And so I wound up using a variety of grits. I started out at 80 to help me get, again, some of the chunkier pieces taken care of, and then brought it down to 220 gradually. Also on the ends of the slab, they were not exactly at 90 degrees, so I had a little bit of planing and sanding to get them squared off.
What's up, pup? How you doing? Coming into the wood shop? Want to help me in the wood shop? You good boy. You want to help me? Where's your toy? Where's your toy? Want to go outside? Yeah? You got to go outside? Okay. Let's go.
So one of the last steps, really a design element, because 90-degree edges on a desktop tend to dig into your arms. So that's no fun. So I wanted to add a 45-degree bevel, but a really wide 45-degree bevel all the way around the top of this desk. So when your arms are resting up against the desk, they weren't digging into the corners of any wood slab. So now let's start a new controversy. Now I always make my own legs. In fact, I like doing goofy leg designs if you've seen my other videos. But I love the look of maple with this black wrought iron or black steel set of legs. And they come in a variety of designs, from a standard box to an X design. And I really fell in love with this. And I think it's simple, looks classy, and I like the color combination, especially since my epoxy fill was also black. But look at the wood grain pop with a little polyurethane finish. The figure in the wood, the shimmer, every time you get close to the crotch or the trunk of a tree where two branches will grow out apart from each other, you see this amazing figure in the wood grain. And the urethane, or whatever you choose to finish it with, just jumps out. I mean, it just looks amazing. And so with 3 coats of urethane to get started, what a great addition to my little basement office there. It's so much nicer than that folding leg table that I had in the corner. kind of classy. And what's great about a slab desk like this is that I could choose to change the leg design a few years from now, and it's not a big deal. It winds up holding my equipment pretty well, and of course, obligatory orange cream Twizzlers to keep the job going.